G'day team, I'm Harley Fox. Today on the Great Man Podcast, we're joined by a warrior in every sense of the word. Scott Steer is an Australian Army combat veteran, having served in the 6th Battalion, Royal Australian Regiment, on deployments to both Afghanistan and Iraq before transitioning out of uniform back in 2010. But Scott's story doesn't stop at service. It evolved onto the mat. A lifetime grappler, Scott began training in Judo and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu decades ago, owning a black belt and competing at state, national and even international levels. His martial art career spans decades, and he even represented and coached across Victoria, Western Australia, Queensland and even the Australian and New Zealand national judo teams. Scott today is the founder and driving force behind Veterans Grappling Foundation, a purpose-built initiative using grappling arts in the form of judo, BJJ, wrestling and other allied movement disciplines to support veteran wellness, community and recovery. He's also the head coach at a judo club on the Gold Coast, and he's brought his high-performance coaching to elite athletes, even working as a tackling and head strength coach over at the Gold Coast Suns AFL club. Scott's work is about transition, resilience and purpose, using combat sports to help veterans move from the battlefield to the mats and from struggle towards strength. Great episode with Scott. Enjoy it, guys. Thanks for being here. Welcome, mate. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for the invite.
No worries.
It's good to finally catch up again.
Yeah, been a while. Do you remember me from the combatives?
Yeah, do. Yeah. With bit less hair. But
yeah. I've still got my base pass. So I drive in every now and then.
The double take
Still
of it.
Yeah. No, they don't care. What is it? Who's running the gate? Chubb or something?
Yeah.
Wilson?
Probably. I don't know.
I don't know either. Cool. Yeah, so that's where we cross paths as your combatives instructor at
Enoggera there.
Enoggera,
Yeah, good spot.
How long were you doing that for?
Probably did that for about 2 or 3 years, I reckon. And then just life got in the way, like coming up from the Gold Coast. It was bit taxing in the end once just coming up and doing that, and then I'd normally run a few more lessons in Brisbane and then back on the Gold Coast. In the end, it was the wife sort of said maybe you need to stop the travel a little bit and spend a bit more time with the family. And once the third kid come along, it made it a little bit more difficult. So,
Right. That's now what are the little ones?
They are 10, 9 and 6. So
yeah. Full house, mate.
Full house at the moment. Yeah.
I've only just got the 11-year-old 50-50, so still get half my life to live and
nice.
Focus on the dad in half the time.
Yeah,
it's good.
It's good.
Boys
good
and
quality
girls.
Time.
Got some mix, or?
2 older brothers and then the daughter. Yep, so 2 boys and a girl, which was quite lucky. It's if you have a choice of 3, personally, that's how I would like to have it, and so I was
2
pretty
boys
lucky.
And a girl.
2 older brothers look after her.
Yeah, the protectors.
Unfortunately, I think she's the fiery one of the 3, so
should be.
She keeps them in line. Yeah.
Fending off the bullies. Do you get them doing martial arts already? Yeah,
they've started. Yeah, all 3 of them have sort of dabbled a little bit. The older one's unable at the moment. He's in a cast for 10 weeks. Playing last week of school. He busted his thumb doing Oztag, so he hasn't been able to train too much. He's been a bit filthy, and his little brother's annoying the shit out of him, and he's getting a bit fired up. So,
some elbows.
Poor bugger. But no, exactly. That's one of our non-negotiables at our house. One form of martial arts at least, and swimming. Living in Australia, you should be able to swim. So, especially being on the Goldie, they'll probably go down the beach and hang out with their mates at some stage. So we need to
confidence in the water.
Yeah, make sure that, especially making mum happy that they can swim and she doesn't have to stress as much. So
you do nippers or something.
Yeah, that's what we want to try and get him into. So they were meant to do this summer, but obviously when old mate broke his thumb, they've said no going near the ocean. You can go to the pool, but not the ocean. So they do swim club and stuff at school, and the 2 boys are going quite well. My daughter's sort of, she she's just in there having fun at the moment. She's not really concentrating too much. So, but mind you, at that age, that's expected. But that's the idea. Get him into nippers and get him confident in the surf.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely shocking when you hear an Aussie doesn't know how to swim, eh?
Yeah, exactly. Like,
you see it in the army a bit. You're like,
yeah,
how?
surprisingly. Yeah.
Just no interest.
No. I mean, I grew up on the surf coast in Victoria as well. So our outdoor education was surfing. That's what we did. So we would go down the beach, once a week and get in the water. It was sort of
nice.
expected, I suppose, where I grew up. So it was a bit weird. Yeah, once I joined. What?
What do you mean?
You don't know how to swim?
Yeah, I grew up in all over the place, but my high school years were spent at Caloundra.
Oh, nice.
Surfing was one of our subjects as well.
Spot.
I think I actually chose fishing, so we used to go down the pier and fish. But
cool.
Some of the boys went surfing.
Yeah,
it's not bad when it's a school subject.
Oh, exactly. Many years later, when I was in Japan, through training and stuff, like a lot of the locals, they just couldn't believe it. It was part of your schooling. They what? Yeah. Suppose a bit
and
like
we rode a kangaroo there.
yeah, definitely got that. They got asked that a couple of times.
Yeah, people. It's funny they think we're some sort of rural, just a massive rural country that is uncivilized.
Yeah. We kind of are.
So tell us about your accolades. What's your black belt in several disciplines, or?
Judo was my main one. So I started that when I was 6, and then I've done a Master of Sport in Sambo with the Russian martial art. I did that.
Yeah, right.
I finally graded in that probably about 4 or 5 years ago.
Did you go to Dagestan in 2-3 years? Forget.
For the Master of Sport.
Is that what they do?
Yeah, Dagestanis. Yeah, they're real big over there. So I did it. It was around COVID, so it was through Zoom. So I was getting asked all these questions from the Russian guys about, through translation and everything. That was a bit difficult. They said my next grade I would have to do. I would have to go to actually Russia to do that. So I won't be doing that for a while, I don't think. So, it was good. I actually like the sport. It's actually really, really well-rounded sport, in my opinion. That was pretty...
Torturing a cat or something.
That was interesting.
What inspired you to want to get a Sambo qualification?
Throughout the years with Judo, I've been dabbling and cross-training in a lot of different, so jiu-jitsu when that's first sort of come to the country, and a bit of wrestling and
was that
Sambo.
Like early 90s or something, was it?
Yeah, sort of mid to late 90s. Did a bit. There was a group of us that were training a bit of everything, and there was times where obviously judo is an Olympic sport, but it wasn't in the Commonwealth Games. It was one of those ones that was a selective on the country. So when judo wasn't in it, a lot of judo players would have a crack at wrestling and get in for wrestling to go to the Com Games. So we did a bit of everything, got a cross-trained. The concepts are all very similar, obviously, just the rule set's a little bit different. So trained with a few crazy Russians over the years, and I always wanted to go through that. They didn't really have a grading system until probably about 6 or 7 years ago. I think they established it.
Oh, yeah.
And then from there, I got offered to start training up for it, and I thought, yeah, absolutely, it'd be good to do and good to see. I always think those sort of things are good to train in because it opens your eyes up to a different angle, and then it might be something that you'd not thought of previously, or so there's been like Mongolian wrestling and all sorts of different things, a bit of even sumo wrestling. Some of the things there, just little bits and pieces. You're always going to learn something from a different style, I think, and that's what sort of drew it to me. And obviously they've had amazing success over the UFC in the last 5 years, especially. The Russian boys. They're just
animals.
Yeah, one of the crazy Russians at our club. He grew up in Dagestan as well, so he's a judo black belt. But he said that he won his Sambo title, and then they gave him a judo black belt as part of the award ceremony. So he obviously knows bits and pieces, but obviously his grading system is a little bit different to here in Australia. But he's still a very good player, Alexi. So yeah, it was good. I like it. And there's been a few comps here in Australia recently. We had one here in Brisbane in November, and I think they're planning on having 3 or 4 here this year, which would be good. So,
Yeah, right. It's funny when you learn about all the little subcultures.
Yeah, and Sambo itself there's 3 different variations as well. So there's sport Sambo, which is sort of like judo and wrestling combined, and then there's combat Sambo, which is basically MMA. You can punch, kick, headbutt, knee, do the whole lot. And then there's beach Sambo as well, which is kind of, I would say, a bit more like sumo wrestling type things. As it hits the ground, it's over.
Oh,
it's very quick, sort of.
On sand?
Yeah, on the sand. So it's very short sort of contest in a lot of ways. But yeah.
What's your favourite one?
Out of the 3, I like the sport itself. Combat Sambo is good to watch, but it's very brutal, which is always good. So you look at the highlights packages, it's pretty good. And we're lucky Sebastian Temesi is a guy up North Queensland. He's been Australia's #1 competitor in the last couple of years. He's had some really good results. And a couple of years ago, I was lucky enough to be in the US, train at a couple of clubs over there, and they all knew about him. They talk about Sambo Australia. They talk about him. So it's a good pat on the back for him, showing that his results are getting world recognised.
Is there like clubs around, or?
There is a few little small clubs, here in Australia. It's kind of you get a lot of judo or BJJ clubs or MMA clubs that might do 1 class a week.
Oh, yeah.
So I was originally running 2 classes a week on the Goldie. Because of our venue situation at the moment, hopefully we can open that back up in the next couple of months and get that up and running again, because I've had a fair few inquiries, which is good because there is a sort of interest there. But the money, there is money there for players to be sent to like Asian Championships, World Championships around. So the head of Sambo Australia is in Adelaide, so there's a competition scene around. So it's good because you're going to get people from all different mixes that have a go. So that's good. You see some weird and wonderful.
Usually people that come in with another discipline under their belt.
Yeah. And the beauty is, I think, because you've got the combat and the sports side, you're going to get your wrestlers and your judo players and your BJJ players, and then on the striking side, you've got Muay Thai and boxing and all those variants that they all just want to have a crack. And and obviously MMA being so popular now worldwide, it's the rule set's very similar. So it's good.
Extra brutality.
Yeah. So you got head guard, you got real light gloves, you got shin pads, and hook in.
Rip in.
So good stuff.
You get a lot of there's a lot of people that'll get to a high level of one discipline and then go, I want to see how I would go over here.
Yeah.
Like not a lot of strikers will go to BJJ because they want to see how they would fare, and they go, oh, I thought I was unbeatable, but actually I'm like a child.
A good example, I read a book this time last year, John Wayne Parr's book that come out, and he explains in there the same thing. He got offered a few MMA fights, and he went and joined a local jiu-jitsu club and tried to have a go, and you realise it's a completely different game. And you're exactly right. Like, you want to test yourself, but if you've been at that high level, it can be rather humbling. Either way you go, like, you go into a different style. And I think the easier transition for the grappling arts is that they are all very similar. It's just the rule sets are a little bit different. You even get that with jiu-jitsu competitions, the different organisations have slightly different rules as well. But yeah, it's easiest transition, I think.
What do you reckon's your preferred? What's your go-to
Sport-wise?
martial art?
Yeah,
overall.
Martial art. Well, for me, has always been judo, and I think not only the fact that I started young, but I think operationally within the military, law enforcement, and the first responders respect is that you want to try and stay on your feet as much as you can. So if you can control someone and take them down, get them to the ground, and you maintain your feet. I always work on the sport analogy. You know, you're off your feet, you're out of the contest. You want to try and stay on your feet to be able to help your team. I find in that operational space within those services, ideally you want to do the same thing. Like obviously there's times you got to take them to the ground and you need to be on top of them to keep them there and lock them up, put handcuffs on and stuff. But I think if you can get them to the ground and stay on your feet and deal with their 2 or 3 other mates or any other threats that potentially could be coming, it's much easier to control the situation.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I've actually been, the last 2 days I posted reels about why law enforcement and stuff should train martial arts and specifically jiu-jitsu. But yeah, now you're saying that.
Yeah.
I have to rescind them.
No, well, like I think anything, like jiu-jitsu is really good, and it's proven, you know, I think New South Wales Police have got the Gracie program that they have implemented, and there's lots of law enforcement agencies in the US that are using it.
Those 2 younger Gracies that do the de-arming and stuff.
Yeah. Canada have got a judo police program. Obviously with Canadians, they've got a very strong French influence, and the French are massive on judo. It's one of their top sports in the country. So
yeah, right. What's that kickboxing one they do? Savate, is it?
Yeah, Savate. Yeah. So they their program seems to be quite impressive as well. Like from the bits that I've seen, I haven't actually been involved with their stuff, but from afar, it looks like it's quite practical and it makes sense. Yeah. So from a martial arts point of view, that's just my flavour, but that's my reasoning behind it.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. It's often the one, it's kind of the forgotten martial art.
It is. Yeah, it is here in Australia. It's funny, like travelling around the world over the years and training in different areas and competing at high levels. Judo is one of the most multicultural sports in the world. The Olympics, they have well over 100 different nations competing in it. And there's over 200 nations registered on the international board. So it's hugely popular. There's 30 or 40 million people around the world that do it, compared to jiu-jitsu, which I think there's only about 4 to 6 million registered members. So
yeah, right.
In comparison, it's much bigger internationally. In Australia, it's very small.
It's got a longer history, right?
It does, yeah. It started way back in the 1880s by a school teacher. He was trying to preserve some of the Japanese culture, and from the old samurai type days, the Japanese jiu-jitsu, where each family sort of had their own sort of style of self-defense, so to speak, and he wanted to reserve that while the Westerners are coming in and trying to modernise everything, try and keep a bit of the history and then make it in a accessible form for everyone. So it wasn't just for the fighting males, so to speak. It was for kids and women and everything, and actually put into a school system. And that's where he developed the belt systems and everything that has sort of transferred over to other martial arts.
Yeah.
So it's sort of started from there and then influenced a hell of a lot of other martial arts and cultures over the years. But being the Olympics, it's very highly competitive internationally for sure. For Australia, for our small numbers, I think we've got about 16,000 registered members. I think there's about 190 clubs, I think, in Australia. So not a huge amount, but very spread out wide, and being a multicultural country too. A lot of the players here in Australia are from overseas or have overseas strong connections because it's well known everywhere else. So we're not very good with our marketing, I suppose.
Yeah. You see a jiu-jitsu gym in every suburb, and
You do, yeah.
I've never really. I don't think I've ever seen a judo gym, to be honest.
Nah, there's there's one at Shogun Hills or at Arana Hills. That's probably the closest one to Enoggera Barracks.
Okay.
Carl there does a good job. There's not a lot, and something they need to get better at.
Cool. So you said you started at 6.
Yep.
What was childhood like? Were your parents into it, or
No,
they just
I had
wanted
no
you
idea.
too much energy and they?
Yeah, my old man was actually quite a successful basketball coach in Victoria.
Oh, yeah.
So mum and dad were basketball, and I remember as a kid, I'm the oldest of 2, so my sister and I would be dragged to all these basketball games all around the state.
You never got into it?
Oh, I did, but I was just too short and not really coordinated. I could jump high, and I was aggressive, but and then Karate Kid come out, and I watched that and thought I was a Karate Kid and started kicking the walls in the hallway and kicking my sister. And I come home one day from school and mum and dad sat me down and said, I think you need to think about what you're doing and maybe we should put you into something. And I said, I want to do karate. So they went and looked, and there was nothing in town, but there was a judo club about 600 metres down the road. So the guy at his house had a big shed out the backyard, and next thing I know, I'm there, and got sort of stuck into that. And I think the first comp I went into, I did quite well. I think I got 3rd, and I was hooked, and stayed with it and stayed with that coach all the way up to just before I joined the army. Basically, I did quite well. Multiple state champion, and then national champion, and then made the national team. Got to do a few trips with the national team as a I suppose what they call it now, junior, so under 21s, and aim was to try and make the 2004 Olympics. So would have been 24 then, and didn't quite make it. So.
Just didn't get picked for the team.
Oh, you only take one per weight category.
Oh, yeah.
It's highly competitive, obviously, and So.
Do you remember the guy that beat you?
2004. I'll have to think. It might have been Tom Hill, I think, from ACT.
Picture up on the wall, throwing darts on it.
It's super competitive. I just upon reflection now, like, being involved with elite sport and everything as my life went on, I think I had the right work ethic. I just probably needed to concentrate on some things a little bit better than what I did. But as a young digger and not having, my parents had really no idea what the sport was. Even when they eventually, the times that I sort of conned them into coming and watching me, they still didn't know what was going on. Where luckily my coach, he was with me the whole time, and when my parents couldn't take me, he would always take me up everywhere. So we had a good team environment for the club that I was at. Good old country Victoria. Grew up at Phillip Island, but went to Wonthaggi High School, and the Wonthaggi Judo Club was quite a strong little country club. My coach, would always bend over backwards to help all our players, and we had a strong group coming up. It was quite good, a good bunch of us within sort of 5-year range that, pushed hard and trained hard, and then we would get in the car maybe once a month and go to a different club somewhere in the state and try and learn stuff from them and build relationships. It was quite good. He was good on the front foot with that and really pushing. So that was.
Teach you all the stereotypical things and discipline and respect and self-control and all that.
Yeah, martial arts is very good for that. And obviously it's very militarised, which makes it easy to to go into the
Transition.
defence, which I think a lot of them did from our club. And,
true.
we always joke saying that our coach should have been a bit of a recruiter and got a bit of a
Got a kick
tip.
back.
Yeah, he got a kickback. He's ex 2RAR Vietnam veteran. So,
Well, true.
yeah.
Was he planting a seed?
Oh, he always used to say to me, like, at the time I didn't really think of it, but again, now as I get older and I reflect, he always used to say, oh, yeah, if you join, don't be a dumb grunt. What do I do? Yeah, so, it was good. It was always fun times, and it was good. He had that real strong work ethic as well, and sort of instilled a lot of those army values into us kids coming through, which was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have some jobs kicking around in your teenage years?
Yeah. So basically, my parents weren't well off, so I'd try and work as much as I can to save my own money up to go train overseas and compete in a lot of the competitions, because as you said, judo's not very well known in Australia, so there wasn't a lot of funding for it. You pretty much just had to fund yourself. So save up, head overseas, train, compete, and then come home, restart, basically is what I did. So the local security company in town, who was an ex-Navy guy, he gave me a gig pretty much straight out of high school. Was real busy with security stuff. So doing roving patrols and close quarter protection and bouncing at pubs and, everything that was going on around the region. We were getting the job. So very busy in that regard, and just the usual, stacking shelves at Woolies and working at a local hardware store. And
did you ever have to use your skills in your security role?
Yeah, there's a fair few. Yeah, it made me grow up pretty quick, which was good. Yeah. I think the other good thing about security is from that period of my life was that as the competition level was so competitive, I remember going to the Institute of Sport in Canberra there, and one of the briefs they said, like one hard night and on the town put you about 2 weeks behind everyone else in training. So that was good incentive to not drink. I was playing. I dabbled in a lot of other sports as well to sort of build my skills all round. And I decided to have a full crack at AFL in my final year of high school, and I ended up getting a real bad injury from that, which kind of forced me not to be able to drink as well. So my family is pretty strong AFL through the male. My cousins and uncles and stuff were all very good at it. I would always play maybe 3 or 4 games a year. The national championships for judo are always sort of second week of June, which is King's birthday weekend, or King or Queen's birthday weekend anywhere else in the country, but here in Queensland. And I would always, Mum would let me play after that. So Mum thought it was a stupid sport. It's pretty, you're going to get hurt, she would always say. So I finally conned her into letting me play in year 12 and did pre-season, was made captain of the club. And the first game we played, I was playing in the ruck because of my jumping ability. And that's about it. Jump up, tap the ball down. The first 5 minutes we're 6 or 7 goals up, and we're absolutely killing this other team. And then the player I was playing on decided to run straight through me, and as I was stretched out, I copped a knee in the ribs and thought I was winded, so I went off the ground and stretched out and then played the rest of the game. And then when the game finished, we obviously won by a heap. I get off the ground and I'm sitting in the rooms. I tried to sit in the rooms and I couldn't bend over to undo my shoelaces. So I said to the old man, I said, something's not right here. I might have to go to the hospital. And get up there, get all the scans. I've tore a hole in my liver and kidney.
What?
I was pissing blood. Pissing blood for 2 months. So basically got told, you're lucky if the hole had been any bigger, you probably could have bled to death. So Yeah, so that was a bit of an eye opener. And
Your mum said I told you so.
yeah, mum's like, you're never playing again. Yeah, so I wasn't allowed to move for basically 2 months. So school pretty much, I was allowed to get up from bed, go have a piss, and then pretty much lay on the couch all day
Right.
for about 2 months. Right at that time, I got selected in the national team for judo for the first time, and the Oceania Championships were in Samoa, so middle of winter. I pretty much got a clearance from the doctor the week before the comp was on, so I hadn't trained in 2 months. Went over there.
Muscles wasting away on the couch.
Yeah, just an absolute shit fight basically. Yeah, once the national coach saw me, he was not happy. Yeah, and he's like, "You should not be here." And I got third, so I was.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was disappointed that I didn't win, but when on reflection, not training for 2 months and having a serious injury, I shouldn't have even been there. But I wanted to take that opportunity while I could. So yeah, so that was. So that obviously changed. I got recommended I shouldn't be drinking with that and what I got told at the AOS. So I concentrated on security work. So that was good. Every Friday night I was at the pub working the doors, seeing all my mates coming in, carrying on, yahooing. And then I would help them, get in a cab at the end of the night and send them home. And I was getting paid for it. So that was a good bonus. So yeah, little jobs here and there. Working at the local rec centre, running kids' activities for the YMCA and summer camps again, all things like that. I just sort of worked the odd job just to try and fund, the dream.
So what the Olympic dream, was that derailed by the injury as well? Or?
No, that was early. So I was probably 18 then. So come good, had a couple of good results. Week after September 11, I went to New Caledonia and fought in a major tournament there. I got to the final against a Japanese guy and I took him down to the ground and I made a silly mistake where I thought I'd done a clean throw. So obviously judo, you can win in 4 ways. You can win with a perfect takedown, so someone lands flat on their back. All the other 3 ways are on the ground. They're actually a pin.
Like submission stuff.
A pin and 2 submissions. Yeah, you got arm locks or strangles or a pin on your back. Back then it was 30 seconds you had to hold them down.
Oh, Jesus.
Now it's 20. But I threw the guy and then I looked up at the referee thinking I'd done a perfect throw and obviously not paying full attention. Then the guy rolled me over and he held me down. I was filthy as, but it ended up being a really good relationship with that guy. Still see him now, and I'm heading to Japan next month, and I'm going to catch up with him. So it's funny all these years later. I learned a valuable lesson, and again, that's something I'm real red hot on my students now is don't worry about the ref, just concentrate on what you're doing. So young. So missed out 2004, and then that's when I was like, I'd had a bad week at work one day, and I sat down. I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? During that whole time too, as a kid, I'd always play army and shit like that, but I'd never really visualised being a soldier for life type thing, or even thought of it as a job. My dad always sort of convinced me to be a policeman. That's what I wanted to be.
Oh, yeah.
And I think I was about 19. I finally sat the police entry test in Victoria. And again, not being that bright, I didn't pass the English test. It was an old tape that they had playing and you would have to write down the words. I just couldn't spell for shit. No, maths I was really good at. Maths I do really well, but I was very poor at English then. I'm not much better now, but I actually failed the English. And I remember going there with a kid from school and he got through. His dad was a local head policeman in town and I couldn't believe it. I failed it. I'm like, okay, righto. So they said, okay, come back in 12 months, you can apply again. And then I had the bright idea to maybe go to recruiting for the ADF. And I thought, actually, my dad's father was in the RAF, and he was a pilot. So I looked at that and I thought, well, if I can't be police in the civilian world, maybe I'll do it in the defence.
Oh yeah,
And
MP.
yeah. And I tried for, I think it was called security police or SecPol in the RAF, and going through the testing for that dragged out for nearly 12 months. And then when that sort of finished that element, I was overseas training and competing again. So I kind of missed the window. And then I kind of thought, no, don't worry about it. I'm seem to be doing all right with these competitions, and I'm building a bit of momentum here. I'll just chase this and see how long I can get that going for.
Are you getting paid for it?
No, as I said, just there's competitions overseas where you can win prize money if you get on the podium. But yeah, not here in Australia. So so bad week doing security. I'd seen recruiting probably about 2 or 3 months earlier. I went in and actually said I want to be a pilot. I'd done all the testing. So, sorry, fast forward. So this is a couple of years later. This would have been 2004. So I sat down, done all the testing, passed all the testing for pilot, funny enough. But they told me I'd done the wrong maths in year 12. There was 3 in Victoria. You could choose in year 12, and I did the one that they didn't want. They want one of the other 2. So they said I could go back to TAFE and do that subject and then come back, or pick something else. And I said, I don't want to do anything else. Anyway, so bad week happened. They called me. I actually looked at the list, and I went down and I saw direct entry for Special Forces. And I went, oh, what's this about? They're like, it's full. Okay, I'm not really interested in anything else. And they're like, oh, what do you do for sport and stuff? And I told them about my martial arts background and what I've been doing. And they're like, oh, well, I just got to talk to the guy who's in charge of that, and I'll come back to you. And I'm thinking, oh yeah, probably never hear from him again. Mm-hmm. It was a couple of minutes later, my phone rang back, and they're like, yeah, when can you come in for testing? And I'm like, all right, I'll come in Monday. And so fast forward a week later, they're like, okay, we want you to go Tuesday. And I'm like, well, I can't, because I got to give notice to my work and stuff. And that Tuesday was Melbourne Cup Day, so 2004 Melbourne Cup Day. I'm like, I can't. I've got to at least, what's the next intake after that? And it was about the 17th of January. So I'm like, yep, all right, I'll do that one. So it was good. I went back to my boss, said this is the plan, and he was very supportive. Obviously, being ex-Navy, he's like, yep, good on you. You can work for the next couple of weeks, and then I'll give you the rest of the summer off. Enjoy it with your family, which was good. Gave me time to do the training and prepare. They give you a training program. Did that, and then joined, and we get to Kapuka, and don't do any fitness at all. You're just all about marching and ironing your shirts and making your bed with the hospital corners, and everyone's fitness was getting depleted, and guys started doing their own training at night, and then there was arm wrestling competitions, and guys freaking doing damage to their biceps and their shoulders, and it's pretty funny. So we sort of went through that process, and I thought it was a really good program. Got through a fair bit of it, and then I injured my hip through some of the courses. And
up at Sango?
I was at Holsworthy, and then I was doing a run, and I come down to a turnaround point and pushed off, and I heard my hip go pop. Felt the blood rushing through, and my steps got smaller and smaller. And then when I got to the end, they said, all right, we're going to send you into Liverpool there for some scans. And I went in there, and there was a very flamboyant nurse who took me in to ask me to get up on the bed and spread my legs like a froggy. Well, he scanned me. And then obviously, found out I had some damage there. And back then, so that's what we're talking 2005 now. The Holsworthy was getting redeveloped, so there's a lot of us injured guys there towards the end. They were like, look, there's no more accommodation. We were living in the gym storeroom. There was 10 of us in the storeroom. And so they were
stretchers.
just on the stretchers, yeah, with a big asbestos hole above your head. And they said, you know, you guys, we're going to have to move you out. We're going to send you over to 3RR so we can keep an eye on you. You might be able to get your wings over there and then come back when you're rehabbed. And I remember we were on parade when they said that. Warrant Officer Kelly was the guy, and I stuck my hand up and I said, "Do we really have to go there?" And he's like, "Well, where else do you want to go?" And I said, "Oh, I want to go to 6RR in Brisbane." He's like, "I don't like your chances." Why is that? And he's like, "Oh, that's a retirement village. Everyone wants to get there. Everyone wants to spend the end of their career there." And I'm like, "All right, well, I'll try." And he's like, "Yeah, I can't guarantee it, but if you want to do it." And as soon as I said that, a dozen other guys stuck their hand up and said the same thing. So, fast forward, we all got posted there. So it was a good group of us to come up. We were very lucky. I remember being at the Miranda Shopping Centre, and one of the boys rang and said, "Oh, mate, your posting's just been dropped off on your bed. You're going to Darwin." I'm like, fuck. He's like, "Nah, joking, mate. You got it, you lucky prick." So, so that was quite good. We get up to 6, and obviously they just got their bushmasters at that stage. So shit was ramping up pretty quick, and I think we were the first new blood in the battalion for a while. So everyone was keen to have fresh lids to push around and give a bit of grief. So that was good. And then
did you cop less of it because people knew your background?
Nah, I think we still got our fair share. But it was kind of good. We got there start of December, so we basically rolled in within a couple of weeks. They were all breaking up for Christmas. Yeah. We got stuck behind, and I was lucky enough to get guard on Christmas Day and New Year's Day with the CO, which was great, up on the front gate. And then so we got to do some decent training over that period of time, just with a small group that was there. And then obviously I'd been in over 12 months by then. I still hadn't had leave, so I was pretty keen to try and get some leave back to Victoria to see the family. And they come in one day and said, "All right, we've been Alpha Company." I was in Delta Company 6RR, luckily. Alpha Company is going down to support tag on Commonwealth Games counter-terrorism stuff. Any of you guys want to go? And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'll go." Like, I'll go down to Melbourne. I had a cousin who was actually in the Commonwealth Games for New Zealand, so I was keen to get down and try and watch her compete, and then again, hopefully get to see the family while I'm down there. So put my hand up, went down, and it was a good trip, a bit of fun. And boys being boys got into a bit of trouble, and but that training was good, and the section that I was attached to there, it was our section from Delta Company. Our whole section went down. It was quite good. We built a close relationship together, and we obviously performed quite well because we got handpicked out of that trip then to go to Afghanistan to RTF1. So the first conventional trip to Afghanistan to Uruzgan province. So that was very lucky. So we come back from Melbourne to Brisbane, and then they said, "All right, we're sending you to Darwin for pre-deployment. You're going to be up there about 6 weeks." We ended up being there for 6 months. they were waiting for the base to be built, the TK, and it clearly just got delayed. And so we get there. There was 3 platoons of us from 6RAR that were apparently about to supply the security for the engineer regiment. So 3 platoons for a whole lot of engineers doing projects everywhere through Uruzgan. Wasn't long before they realised they probably need a few more people, so they end up calling a company from 5-7 over to help out. So a few of our boys who were in reserve got attached to 5-7 and
Wow.
nice little rivalry happening while we're over there. And 5-7 split when we were there as well, when we were in country. So, yeah, that was a good trip. A lot of good work.
Over there for a fair while?
Yeah, I think it ended up being about 8 months. I think we got there in September and we come back around April the following year. So it was winter time. It's pretty warm when we got there and pretty warm when we left. But, yeah, majority of the time was winter. So,
It's pretty hectic being the first boots on the ground.
Yeah. Yeah, it was exciting to actually be there and be there in a different role. Obviously, the SF boys have been there in a combative sort of stance where we were there more of a reconstruction and trying to build those hearts and minds, that old plug. So seeing what the place was like when I first got there, when there was no power, no water, no mobile phones, and by the end of it, they'd had a fresh water, they'd had hospitals, they had schools up and running, they had bridges over the local waddies, and they had there's mobile phone towers everywhere, which was probably not the great for further years, but and we actually built a trade school at the base there as well, so the locals could come in and learn a trade, hopefully to help give them another option to make money instead of just planting bombs and shooting AKs. So that was actually good. Like for the time I was there, you could actually see a fair difference of what was when I first got there to when we left. It was actually decent to see the big change. So that was satisfying. And
That's cool.
the boss that I had, Matty Ford, he was very good. Again, upon reflection of my short career of 5 years, he was easily the best officer I had that was in charge of us, and very strategic in his planning and really fine comb. Him and Scotty Woolley, his sergeant, were really good in that regard. They done a fantastic job. So yeah, it was a good trip. We've gone from Commonwealth Games to Darwin for 6 months and then to Afghan for 7 months or something. We've all been together for nearly 2 years in the end. It was ended up being a pretty close group.
Yeah, I bet. Still close today?
Yeah, a lot of them. A few of, it's been, as I said, it's 20 years this year. So a few have gone off and done their own things, but there's a group of us that, every 12 months or every 2 years we try and catch up, and a smaller group of 3 or 4 of us that get together every sort of second Anzac Day. We try and go somewhere different.
Yeah, nice.
So this year we're down the Clare Valley, down in beautiful South Australia.
Oh, yeah.
So that should be
Doing
a good little catch up. Yeah.
You was there ever any, well, not jealousy, but sort of longing for that SF role when you were working with them after you lost the DRS stuff?
Yeah, like as I said, I was planning to come to Brisbane and then do my rehab and then go back. But as soon as I got there, as I said, it was just
hectic.
You're going to Commonwealth Games, you're going to Darwin, you're going to Afghan. So when we're in Darwin, we actually run into the guys that I come through with who were getting ready to go to Timor. They were in Darwin, their final leg before they shot over, and done some work with. So it was funny seeing them. They're like, "Oh, you're going to Afghan, we're going to Timor." So we kind of got there before them in a way. There was 2 of us in that group that went to 6 who end up on that trip. We both end up at Delta Cummy, so the 2 of us went over. The rest of the guys who come up with us end up going to Timor, and then a lot of them went to Afghan 12 months later. But so when I got back from that, again, I was like, should I now go back down or but basically as soon as we got back, we signed a waiver to get ready to go to Iraq. so I was like, all right, we're going to Iraq then. We'll get that trip out of the way.
I was going to say, did you get back after all that excitement and then a lull? But no.
Yeah, no, mate, straight back. Recon course. Then I end up having surgery on my ankle, and then Iraq.
How'd your hip hold up?
Yeah, like again, I think it was manageable. It was still a dull ache there, and there was times where I'd only move just a certain way, and it could drop me. It was not great, but I tried. I went through physio and everything at 6REI, and the physios loved me because I wasn't just the usual, knee or shoulder or ankle. I was something a little bit different. So it was manageable. It was times I just had to be a bit more selective on things, cross country runs, or I had to be really timid, making sure that loose rocks didn't aggravate it. So I just had to.
Doing your patrols and stuff as well?
Yeah, patrols were right. And of course I was a new guy, so I was a gunner as well. So just add more weight. So just prepare the body. I think luckily my sort of sports science background helped me with that.
Oh yeah, when you do that?
Yeah, I forgot. I did a bit of uni too before I joined. Did my last year. I did a part of a uni in New Zealand, Massey University in Palmerston, 2002, I think that was.
You're a Kiwi?
I was born there but raised in Australia. Yeah.
Your parents are both from New Zealand?
Nah, mum, dad's Aussie. So we come back. Well, we come to Australia when my dad's father died when I was about 4, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So we come over and I did all my schooling over here.
Yeah. So you still go back over there and see people?
Yeah, still got mum's side of the family. My plan when I did go over to do uni there was have the opportunity to represent New Zealand at the Olympics as well. So try and have that dual citizenship to maybe have it as a second window. But I pretty much had to be there full time to be a kind of qualified, be under the coach's noses, which the training here was better, to be honest. So, yeah.
Maybe you could have got to the top.
Could have, I probably could have, yeah. So, yeah, so after Iraq.
And you broke your ankle, had surgery in your training, but you still made it to Iraq?
Yeah, so when we come back from Afghan, I was on leave, had a month leave, and I was panelled for recon course. I went for a run and then rolled my ankle extremely bad. And being country Victoria, I'm like, I'll just go to the local hospital, got put in a moon boot, pushed through, and then when I got back to battalion 4 weeks later, I thought I'd better go get this checked out. Got put on a chit saying I can't run, but my sergeant at the time goes, says you can't run, but doesn't say anything about pushing this trailer up the hill there. As you would probably know, that mentality back then, just harden up. So I did it, and obviously over time just made it worse and worse. So head up. Luckily just got a clean out in the end. Not needing a full reco, but so I got delayed. I ended up going to Iraq a little bit later. Ended up being a short trip of about 5 months, but
passed your recon course?
No, I was still on. I was still on the chit then, so I only did the first week, and then I had to withdraw because I couldn't do any of the running. So I remember the test. The first couple of days, I think we're doing chin ups. You pump out about 15, and they're like, "All right, go for a run." And they time the run. You come back, and then you got to do chin ups again, and then you go do the run. And I just felt like a real jack prick, just sitting there doing the push-ups and the
just waiting for him to get back.
Yeah, just waiting for him to get back, and I'm like, I can't do this. And they're like, No, have you tried running? I'm like, I can't. I'll show you my run, and I couldn't. So I knew something was wrong. It was the first surgery I ever had, so I got that done, and so Iraq. I went to Little Air Base down the south, OBG 4, with Alpha Company. And I was attached to them. Ended up being a bushy driver. So I did the bushy course during my rehab part, and that was interesting. And that was probably the start of the turning point. I think there was going from Afghan, how that was run really, really well, to Iraq that was run
less well.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the politically correct way of saying it. Yeah, not as well. I think Afghan, we were working with the Dutch there, and you could see the Dutch were setting patterns. They were leaving at the same time every day, going down the same road. Obviously, they were getting hit by IEDs all the time because they were just setting ridiculous patterns, where we were being very sporadic and changing it up every single time. And then I get to Iraq, and even though I'm only a replacement, really, I've replaced a guy who hurt his back. I walk straight in. First night I'm there, I'm out on patrol, driving under Ninox and, straight into it. And drove like shit too. And, sorry to the boys. And it got better as the time went on. But yeah, we was just setting the same patterns. We were waxing with another group. So we would go out one night and then we'd come back. We'd drive out, drop the boys off. They would patrol all night. We would harbour up in an area, wait till first light, pick them up, and then take them back to base. They were sort of patrolling around for IED layers and people who were rocketing the base and stuff. And then the other platoon would go out the night after us, and then we would sleep, and then back and forth. So the trip went really quick. But yeah, it was coming towards the end, and there'd been a few signs that were very obvious, in my opinion, that we were going to get targeted, and that there was an IED coming up on this specific road that we kept going on a major choke point. And every time we went down this main road, there was all the little kids who were on the mobile phones, and they were watching us like a hawk and sort of looked like they were talking about us. So I'd point that out at first, and no, you're just green, okay, yeah, no worries. And then there was a big Bedouin family that were right on that choke point, and they just packed up and left in one night all of a sudden.
Yeah, right.
Which I thought was a bit strange. And again, I pushed that up the chain of command, and they're like, "Oh, no, that's it's that time of year. They're just on the move." Like, yeah, maybe that might be true, but to move that quickly, like in one night with the setup they had, it was decent job. And then another night we'd drop the boys off. We'd come back and we'd harbour it up, and all of a sudden, it was around 2 a.m, I think, a ute pulls up with a tray full of dirt, and these 3 or 4 guys get out and they start shoveling the dirt onto the S-bend where this Bedouin family was. And I said to the staff at the time, I said, I think we need to send a patrol out there to find out what they're doing. That sounds really sus being at this time of night. Oh, no, this is the local culture, sort of do weird things like this sometimes. And I'm like, no. So anyway, I kind of conned the staff to send someone out there. They went out there, they talked to them with the interpreter, and the interpreter come back and said, they told us that they're doing roadworks and they're doing it at this time of night because it's too hot during the day. Yeah. Okay. The next time we went down that road, I saw a spotter, and like this big mound, and I'm like, I'm 100% sure there's an ID in that spot. I don't want to drive through. And I was a lead vehicle, and they're like, no, you're going through. And I just remember when I got talked into doing it, and I remember driving through, and I remember just closing my eyes going, this is going to go bang for sure. And it didn't, luckily. But when we got back to the base, I did a bit of chest poking and as a digger, and said, I'm not going down that road again. Like, you can find someone else. I guarantee like something's going to happen there. There'd been a few other things that happened with the other patrols where an ID gone off in front of them, a week or so beforehand and everything. And unfortunately, the next morning when we got up and it was our turn to go, we'd been retasked onto a different mission. I did patrolling up Route Irish for a couple of days. And that night, obviously, a vehicle went down and an ID went off exactly where I thought. And one of the boys got pretty badly wounded. He was up in the turret. He had a bit of shrapnel go up underneath his chin here and come out his eye socket. And
oh, jeez.
He's permanently blind now. I think he's got 5% in one eye. And when that happened, obviously everyone dropped everything. We all went back down to that road, and they really did a proper search, and then we spent the next week sort of trying to find the bomb makers and interrogate them and everything, which end up, I think they got them in the end. But I think after that moment when I got back, I was like, I felt like I did everything I possibly could to bring, everything to the forefront.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that.
Is there anyone that had you back? Just you.
Just me, I think.
Lone digger.
Yeah, because I think the other guys were just like, it was coming towards the end of their trip, and they'd been there for 6 or so months and nothing had really happened. A lot of the US guys would get hit, but like none of the Australians. Oh, the Australians don't get targeted, or they leave us alone. Was the common phrase that was getting thrown around. Each their own, As I said, I might have been because I was green and I come a bit later, but I felt a bit guilty, I think, a bit when I got back, that I thought I probably could have done more, but I don't know what much more I could have done on reflection now. I think, at the time you think, fuck, I should have done this and should have done that. But that was a bit, I think that was a turning point when I got back. I sort of went, what do I do? Do I stay here at the regular unit, or do I, again, transfer? So I was starting to really seriously think about going back down, back to Sydney. I started to get put on promotion courses, and I'm like, I don't want to go back down to Sydney as a corporal either. Like, it's just, I'd rather be at the bottom and sort of learn the ropes from the start, sort of go back to where I was progressing to start with. And then I think for the high stress with the couple of missions or the couple of trips that I'd had, had a few and trust issues I think I developed after that trip. I was starting to struggle a bit being in battalion life on the barracks. And, starting to do some stupid driving. I rode a motorbike to work and was lane splitting and doing stupid speeds, and find it hard to sort of concentrate, which obviously is quite common as times have gone on. I've realised that, with our demographic, it tends to be coming out of that war zone again, like thinking you own in the road, especially as a driver in Iraq, and then coming back. There's times where like I'm going through red lights and everything, which I don't even realise, because it took a while to sort of get back into the mood of, hang on, mate, you've actually got road rules here. And I had an old Holden Ute, which I spent a lot of money on, and old HZ 1 ton, and my plan was to put it into a show at Phillip Island Racetrack. Right. But I had this feeling for a few weeks that someone was watching me all the time. And I remember I had to chat to a psych at work at 6, and I was saying that I was having this feeling. I remember her saying to me that, I think you're just still very in that combat mindset. You're very high strung. Like, I was taking a different route home every day and everything, just like we're on deployment. And she's like, I want you to stick to one road and go down, which I found bloody hard to do. But I stuck through it, and did it for about a week. And then sure enough, I think it was a Tuesday night, about 2 a.m, I hear the ute start up, and I'm living in a house with a whole heap of AJs, and I'm up on the second floor, and I look out the window and there's my ute going out the driveway. So I ran down in my jocks with the intent to try and stop this bloke. And I come off second best. I went over the bonnet and under the back wheel. Oh, jeez. And the guy obviously drove off, and it skinned my left foot to the bone. So my heel and around near my big toe joint were just, pretty much done a burnout on my leg and chewed it all the way through. So, I got one of the other boys chucked me in the car, and funny enough, took me to Enoggera Barracks, to the to the hospital there, instead of taking me to one of the Brisbane hospitals, which, I got there and they're like, what the hell are you doing here? Like, basically just called an ambulance and sent me in. It was bloody painful, but luckily I only had one broken bone, which was my little toe on the opposite foot, the right foot, which was out at right angles. That was, pretty painful getting that put back in. But, so now I've got this really nasty injury where I got to get silver nitrate put on the flesh a couple of times a week for about 6 months to try and burn the flesh down while the skin heals back over top. The skin wasn't growing as fast as the flesh. So
Jesus.
I couldn't wear shoes for 6 months, and all this time I'm getting told, you're going on MTF1 to Afghanistan again. You're going to be the CO's driver. You're going to be this and that. I'm thinking, shit, another trip. Like, so I was very rapidly, the career went super quick, and I was posted at the regimental police at 6RER, and while my foot's healing, and the idea where there was, because of my background, to run PT with another guy, Jason Marsh, who was a Muay Thai kickboxer as well. We would run classes for PT every morning for all the different companies at 6RER to try and teach them some combatives to prepare them from MTF1, which was a good little gig. So I'd pretty much do PT in the morning and then try and get this foot healed. It was when that skin did finally heal over, it was very like tissue paper thin. So I'd had to have all these big bandages and shit on it. And so when I got told I'm going to Afghan again, I'm like, I don't know if I can actually trust my foot that's going to get through this, because I know where we're going and how manky it is. And, they had all the old FOBs set up everywhere back then. And I'm like, I just don't have confidence in it. And, I was sitting at the RP office and I'm looking out the window, and it was one morning, and I remember we're looking directly at the living lines for the sergeants and warrant officers. And I'm coming up to about the age of 30 then, and remember seeing a couple of guys sort of sulk out of their rooms, and they were looking very dejected and heading down to the sergeant's mess. And I'm thinking, if I stay in, there's a possibility that could be me. I didn't have confidence in my foot to go overseas again, and I thought, I'm definitely not going to be able to do Sydney now, like with this condition. I either need to wait probably a year or two for that to completely heal, or maybe put my discharge in and get out and try and transfer to something else. And that was the moment. And then, put the paperwork in, and while everyone's doing pre-deployment, getting ready to go, and I'm just
on your way out.
On my way out, yeah.
Was it a medical separation with all your stuff?
No, it was on my own accord, yeah. So I had a job lined up with the Gold Coast Suns, funny enough, at that stage. And I was going to go roll into that. They just sort of started up then. So this is like end of 2009, start of 2010. Of course, as you know, it's a long drawn out process. So got to finally get out, and by the time that the army paperwork process went through, the job had been filled, because they kept on saying, get away another week, get away. And they had filled it. So so I was a bit lost there for a couple of months trying to work out what the hell I'm going to do. And
were you drinking by this stage, or you stayed off it?
Of course. That was one thing I remember when I joined the army, and the recruiters were like, do you drink? I'm like, no, I don't drink. They're like, well, that'll change. And then, of course, it did. It changed. The culture started. And then, 6RER was funny when I got there. I remember my initiation process, I think up at the Boozer. We had races. We had the old office chairs. I had to sit on the office chair, and I had to go around this big square, and every lap I did, I had to scull a beer. And while I'm rolling around, people were throwing all shit at me, and all the lids, all the new guys from each company who had a bit of a race. I think I won the race, but yeah, I got fucking all sorts of shit thrown at me that one. There's obviously some funny nights over the years and some crazy stories.
Did you maintain your martial arts training while you're in?
Yeah, well, obviously with the SF program, it was just course after course after course. So there was a group of us that would just do a little bit in our spare time, which maybe every now and then, not consistently, obviously, compared to what it was. When I got to 6 RER, when I walked into the battalion, there was another guy I knew from the junior Australian team. He was from Tassie, Craig Gresham. So it was good. As soon as I saw Gresham, I'm like, oh shit, I've got someone to train with. And then I started hitting him up about where he trains, and he was starting to do a little bit of jiu-jitsu then with a guy here in Brisbane who just got his purple belt. He was the instructor of the club. So this is 2006, I'm guessing. I think we entered in a few little competitions that was run here in Brisbane. So sporadically trained. Back then it was frowned upon. Like if you turned up with a black eye or anything, I saw blokes getting charged and stuff for that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So even in Sydney, I would sneak out off the base and I would train at a local club there, judo club, Judo, that was close by. And when I could, but it was pretty rare. Then with the deployments, a lot of the US guys and stuff have their combative program that was pretty strong even back then, and there was a lot of US college wrestlers and stuff. So you got to have a good little bit of training here and there, bit of multiculturalism. The Poms and the Dutch and even some of the Romanians in Iraq was interesting. That was good times.
Yeah. So you got out, but you didn't get the job with the Suns. So
yeah. So
how'd you feel after you walked away from it all?
Yeah, at the time, like I remember walking out, and I remember my sergeant giving me, as the day that I'm walking out the gate, he's like, "Mate, you're on deployment. You're leaving like tomorrow or next week." And I'm like, "No, I'm done. I'm not going. Like, I'm sorry. Thanks for the offer, but I'm not going." And at first, I can't remember how long it was before I actually got a job, but I'd applied for heaps of places. I was taking my resume in everywhere, and like a lot of veterans, I think, like a lot of businesses look at your army service, and they don't really can look at it as a job in a way. Like, it's easier to get a job when you have a job. So a lot of them see it and they're like, well, are those skills transferable? It's got better as time's gone on, definitely. But I think at that time, like I was going everywhere, Bunnings and BCF and all those sorts of chains, and especially Gold Coast back then was very tourism orientated. So it was pretty hard to get work. And I was starting to feel a bit dejected because I'm thinking, shit, have I made the right choice? And then I think it compounded around that time too, that on MTF, a lot of the guys that I'd been training to go on deployment, all their deaths started happening. It felt like nearly every couple of weeks there was someone else had been killed, whether it was that or even some guys that I kind of knew or knew through my time at the commando unit, my brief short time there was people that I knew from school that were there as well. And just hearing all these sorts of things happening, it was a bit gut wrenching, and it was a good reality check of like, shit, what can I do? I need to find something to keep me busy, because if I don't, you can see you're just going to go down that spiral. I was lucky enough that another veteran flicked through a job that had been advertised on the Gold Coast. It was working at a shooting range. Right. And we both put in for it, and I got it and he didn't, the poor bugger. So I felt real bad for him, even though he found it and sort of sent it through to me. So that was a good job. It was easy, a lot of fun. It was something I didn't really need to learn a new skill as such. Like there was lots of different weapons that I'd never touched before, but the concepts are the same. Safety is the main thing. So that was good. It was in a shopping centre in Surfers Paradise. It was
upstairs
there near the bowling alley. Yeah, we had everything from 22 to 50 caliber. There was Desert Eagles. There was
I've shot some stuff up there before.
Yeah, indoor clay target shooting. There was a whole lot. It was a fun place to work. Open from 10 till 10. You'll get all sorts of walks of life come in. And of course, you need to be licensed. So just stupid amount of money that people were paying to do it. That was a good little transition.
Did you ever think about going back when shit was going AWOL, or you were happy you were out?
Not too many people know this, but I actually did reapply to go RAF. Because during my time in Afghan, I got tasked with a weapon escort at some stage where guys were going on Rockall on their leave, and I ended up getting stuck in Dubai for nearly a month because it snowed back in Afghan, and the runway back then wasn't sealed. So because it was snowing, they couldn't land. So I was there for 2 weeks, and then my Rockall was straight after it. So I pretty much had a month out of country. And we were there a lot with the Raffies that were the old Aggies, the old Rafsas. They had a real cruisy job, and I'm like, hang on, this could be a nice little cruisy gig here. Obviously based out of Amberley, so I went out to Amberley, and I talked to the guys who I knew from that little gig, and they showed me around, and went back all through the recruiting, and I got to the medical. And one of the things that happened when I was in Afghanistan, other than my ankle when I got back, we did a night patrol, and I fell down a hole, and I had the spare barrel of the machine gun on my back, and I actually got a small hairline fracture down the bottom of my spine. And so when I went through the RAF recruiting, they looked at that, they're like, no, you're back, mate. Like, we can't take you. It's not if that's going to happen again, it's when it's going to happen. So, yep. So that was I'm like, oh, okay, well, maybe my back's worse than what I first thought. And then I started all the DVA process, funny enough, and jumping through all those hoops. And it took me about 10 years in the end, literally. But so that was that stage. Yeah, it was rough times, but the shooting range was good. You still get your little fix with the guns, and then
any other vets there, or just you?
There was a Kiwi vet there for a while who spun some shit. Told me he was New Zealand SAS and all this sort of stuff. He got found out. He didn't last very long.
One of those.
One of those. Yeah, so I was doing that, and then I finally got married a couple of years later. And one of the boys from my army time was at the wedding, and he got out about 12 months before I did. He's from Perth originally, and he as soon as he got out, he went and saw his sister, who was a school teacher up in Port Hedland, way up north, WA. And he's like, mate, if you want work, like, I got work in 24 hours of actually going and seeing my sister. They gave me a job straight away, and it's really good money. So my wife's a nurse, and so it was probably about 2 months after we got married, we were contemplating on what our next steps are. She was on a month-to-month contract at the hospital, and she was like, I need something a little bit more stable, if we're going to be talking about starting a family and stuff. So I said, just email the hospital in Port Hedland and see what happens. And she emailed them, and 2 days later she had a phone interview, and then 3 days later she's starting. So I was with the shooting range. I'm like, sorry boys, I'm taking a grab bag and I'm going. I don't know if I'll be back or when I'll be back. They're like, yeah, no worries, your job's still here when you come back. Away you go. So we jumped on a plane, went over, and he had a place that had its own room with an ensuite, and we moved in there, and we ended up being there for 4 years. It was really good. I started off just driving trucks there. Funny enough, my Bushmaster ticket classified as a medium rigid license.
Oh, nice.
So started just doing deliveries for Reese Plumbing, who just moved in town, and it was good driving all over the place. Like Broome was 6 hours north, Karratha was 3.5 hours south, and then I think Tom Price was about 5 or 6 hours out east inland. It was very remote, but we call that our Port Hedland deployment. It was, big long hours, but we had a house, and we got lots of good jobs and made lots of good friends, and a lot of people are there doing the same thing, working hard and trying to set themselves up.
Yeah, right.
So while I was there, it was within the first couple of weeks I was there, I met a guy who was ex-Navy. His wife worked with mine at the hospital, and he's like, "Oh mate, there's a jiu-jitsu club in town, come and train." So I went in there, and Jared Burton, Batty Burton, he was the coach, and we crossed paths late 90s in Victoria, and it was really good to start training again. And after about 6 months, he left town, and all the boys were looking at me. I wasn't great in jiu-jitsu at that time, and I'm like, "Oh look, I can't do jiu-jitsu classes, but I can do judo classes." So started a club up there, and within 18 months, I think we had 250 members. It was massive. It was I was running classes for kids where we were having over 50 on the mat. They're running around like crazy. And so after doing 12-hour days and then run a couple of hours worth of classes, it was pretty full on. Good times, but good full on, and the local community were right behind it.
Injuries didn't restrict you from training?
Oh, as an instructor, I'm sure all the older vets will be able to tell you, like, you're not training as much as such as an instructor. You're more sort of directing and teaching. Obviously, the young boys want to have a crack every now and then, but because you're so experienced, you kind of know your limitations, and you know what to do and probably not what to do. So there was moments there where you just need to wind it back a little bit, and just pick the times to go hard and not to. So that was good. Then I got back into competing and stuff. Then obviously having a break between my service period, because I didn't really compete very often then, but I got back into it and started just entering in the veterans divisions. So judo, it's everyone over 30. It's a bit younger, but so I started entering in that and working my way back up. And
veterans as in old boys, not military
veterans.
in
Military veterans, as in masters or judo they call it veteran. So I started getting into that, which was good to get back on the focus and getting competitive again. I really missed that element when I was in service. I missed that competitive drive that I had. So it was good to sort of scratch that itch again and get back into it. And
did pretty well.
I did well. I won the national title a couple of times again, and then then my firstborn come along, and my wife wanted to move back home closer to her family, which is on the Gold Coast. So we packed up and we did the big move and got back there and joined the local club there and try to help them sort of with coaching and help the new breed coming up. And then for work, funny enough, the Gold Coast Sun job come back up again. So I actually finally took that back on and ended up being at the club there for about 4 years. It was good.
A strength coach or something?
Specialist coach, So I did a few roles. I sports trainer and strength and conditioning and tackling, close contested ball sort of stuff. Bit of mindset. So anything from strapping ankles to massage to going down a day early because I had a truck license, obviously, load up all the gear and then take it to the hotel and to the venues, set up the venue and get it all ready for the players just to roll in and prep for the game and then help them with recovery. And so it was good, but just like being in the army again, you're never home. I mean, like you've either got the senior team or the reserve grade that are going in all different directions. You're constantly on the plane traveling, and then in pre-season or end of season, you only have a few weeks off, and then you're kind of prepping everyone for the following season again. So it's busy, and you're making sure they got the right programs and they're sticking to it. And so it is. It's a privilege to be in that scene, but it's very time consuming, very draining. You don't get paid a heap, and it's a bit draining. So
4 years was enough.
Yeah, 4 years, and then we went through a couple of coaches. Suns weren't the best at that time, and then pretty much a whole new office come in, and they pretty much cleared a lot of people out. So I was actually getting that final year. I was doing a lot with a guy who had concussion real bad, and he ended up retiring at like 22 or 3 after being a top 10 pick, and a lot with it's like the resilience, I suppose. I hate saying that word because it's flogged to death, especially with the veteran community. Just because they were getting flogged every week, they just need a bit of confidence more than anything. And I started studying. I come across a couple of papers where some soldiers in the US, actually current serving soldiers, were finding that training the grappling arts were helping them with de-stressing and getting a clearer mindset. And I come across these papers and I started going, shit, this has actually got a fair bit of merit. And then I started thinking back to when I was in my late teens, early 20s, kind of at my peak of my competition career, and my coach at the time, as I said, was a Vietnam veteran. He was starting to go through his bad times, his rock bottom times, where he was going through repat hospitals and all that sort of business. And the best thing I saw for him was actually being on the mats and training with me and the other young lads coming up. So I started to put a correlation to like, hang on, I've seen this work, and I was starting to put stuff in practice at the footy club to help these guys to try and build their confidence up and get their aggression out, but be in a controlled manner. And how that sort of cleared the mind, and I started putting things 2 and 2 together. And then I was starting to think, well, at the end of the season, my contract's up. It's not likely that it will be renewed. So maybe this is something, because I saw a lot of correlation between AFL athletes and veterans in the fact that your career can be done not when you want to. It's under someone else's control. So from an AFL or sports perspective, list managers go, you're not needed anymore. You're cut. They have to make at least, I think it's 7 list changes every year. So the average career in the AFL is 3.5 years.
Yeah, right.
And you think about a Rozzo in the army, it's about 4 years a minimum. But with all the injuries that have happened in the military service, like, you don't get to choose when you go. A lot of the time it's a doctor saying, you can't do this job anymore. See you later. And a lot of the kids from sport and the military join when they're 17. So their whole identity is about being a footballer or being a soldier. And then when someone takes that from under you, it's like, shit, what do I do now? And I think for myself, like I didn't really experience that because I joined when I was 24. I was a bit older. I've had a bit of life experience. So, but a lot of the kids at footy and diggers who get out after 4 years. You know, they could be 21. And a lot of them don't even know how to pay for a phone bill or,
Yeah.
you know, how to do shopping or anything, because they could be just eating on base or
Don't know how to see a doctor.
don't know how to do anything like that. So and that's where I think it's as a society we've got a lot better on realising that. And you know, there's a lot of flack on DVA over the years, but they've got really good, maybe not DVA as such, but the organisations attached to them have got really good at helping people with that transition. I mean, I remember my transition seminar, I went in to see, I think it was a padre out the front of the base there at Enogra, and he's like, do you want to transfer to anything else? I'm like, no, I'm done. He's like, all right, see you later. And that was it. Sign the paperwork, done, off you go.
Yeah, same for me.
Yeah, where like now with the Soldier Recovery Centre and all that sort of stuff they've got, I'm just speaking from an Enogra perspective because that's where I've sort of helped out over the years. It's a lot better set up. And elite sport is realising that that's a major issue too, and they've built in career development days, 1 day a week with their player association contracts, and they try and help them a lot more. It could be a hell of a lot better, but I think that's one thing that everyone kind of struggles a little bit. And
100%. Like you said, that 17, what's the average age? 18, 19 would be the average age for soldiers. You do, even if you did 10 years, that's 10 years of your 100% your formative years from 17 to 27. And like you are a soldier, that's what you are.
That's it.
You're nothing more than that, really. No. And then you've got to go. And if you voluntarily separate, SRC is great. I worked there for 3 years. And the program is amazing at helping that transition, but it's not compulsory.
Yes.
And there's not many soldiers going through it.
No.
So it's, if that was a mandatory thing to help everybody, that would be a massive game changer. But it's not. So you have people walking out that don't know how to get a Medicare card, they don't know how to pay their bills and how to do this and that. Yeah.
A good mate of mine, I knew him from 6RL, but he ended up going over west, and he's set up the Crate Foundation here in Australia as well. I think he did a trial program in the US with kind of equivalent where they take a lot of the SF operators and they try and take their skills that they've learned from their service and then actually put that into the corporate sector and how they can transition those skills across. And again, like he started his own charity up to sort of set that up to give those guys another option to actually use something that they've gained from their service and put it into their future. Yeah. Unfortunately, it comes to ex-service organisations to sort of set these up because, as you said, you know, it should be they do really well with your training going from a civvy. They break you down, they retrain you into being a soldier. But at the end, they probably need to do the opposite. You know, it's like, okay, now we're going to train you to be a civilian again.
Yeah, for sure.
It's hard with budgets and everything with the government, but
little things like for example, 6RR, I was working there for a bit as well. The soldiers that are medically discharging, they'd use them in the boozer to make coffees, and then it's like, oh, can we send this person to SRC because they need to get ready for their transition? I was like, no, we need someone to make coffee. Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's something, they're the type of things that, you know, you would hope with the Royal Commission that happened that they try and look at what we can do better. You know, that was always the thing that I try and say to the guys that come through our program and our camps and stuff, that try and look at the things you learnt from service about, right, how you learn really well how to plan. You learn
time management.
Yeah, time management, exactly. Goal setting, and then your communications, all those sorts of elements that. All right, let's take it out of the military perspective and how can we apply it to the civilian game, so to speak? How can we pick our target, know our enemy, know their weaknesses? You know, when you're trying to pitch yourself as a potential staff member for a company, how can you use the skills that you've been drummed into you and actually apply that? You know, I always think back to with every mission we did in Afghanistan, we would always come back, we'd go straight into a debrief and we would get everyone to talk about everything they saw, everything they picked up, what went well, what didn't go well, what can you do better, all that sort of stuff. We get that flogged into us while we're in. But then when we're out, we kind of data dump that shit and we go, fuck, I need someone to help me. I'm like, hang on, you've been given the skills. You just need to look at how we can target that into your new game that you're playing. You're not playing the Army game anymore or the Navy or Air Force. You're playing the civvy game.
Yeah.
So you still use the same concepts.
You'd be made to reflect on everything you ever did, right? In an AAR. And I did this well. I could do this better next time. Da, da, da.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that, I think if people can sort of think about that, like one of the things I always do with, obviously we'll get to it later, but with the charity that I started and the wellness camps that we run, one of the first briefs I do is like, all right, everyone done navigation in the Army or the defence. What's the most important thing about a map?
I don't know, grid coordinate.
Yeah, exactly. Well, pretty much where the fuck you are on that map. You don't know where to go if you don't know where you are, do you? Like everyone, like some people say, oh, the compass and the north, true north, and this and that. Yeah, that all helps, but you need to know where you are first. Probably the biggest thing officers make that mistake. They don't know where the fuck they are. But I kind of like, and that's the same in life. You need to know where you actually are, and before you can actually set goals and give yourself a direction or a new mission, is a saying that gets flogged a bit as well. But to actually reflect on yourself and like, all right, where am I? And the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Number one, it's all about having a roof over your head, food, all those sorts of steps you need to go through. You need to get yourself right before you can start aiming. So you think about from a mission perspective, you got to have all your kit all set up, ready to go do the mission before you actually step off. And that's where, as I said, if you apply that to your own life, you can go, all right, well, what have I got? What are my skill sets? What would I like to do? Am I able to get up early in the morning? Am I able to lift boxes or drive a car for however long, or see what assets you've actually got, and then you can direct it to where you actually want to progress in life. And if you don't have the skills, what do we do in the defence? You go to a course.
Yeah.
And there's good elements with DVA and your rehab program where you can actually go and do training to help you with a new career and spark your interests and everything like that. So
that's a really good point, actually. I haven't really brought it up on here, but rehab programs not many people know about, especially if you voluntarily separate. But if you have DVA conditions, you can contact the rehab agencies and self-nominate for a rehab program.
Yeah, absolutely.
So your doctor can nominate you. When you're in, your chain of command can nominate you. And the third option is self-nomination. Yeah. And those rehab programs are fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I went through my recovery and I come back from being in the mines for 4 years, I'm like, okay, well, I can't do mining here on the Gold Coast, but what can I do? And getting back into elite sport and getting my foot in the door there and working, I'm like, well, what skills can I pick up here that I can use for this job that DVA might be able to help me with that could actually broaden my my valuability to the team. And funny enough, because I was a digger back then, you can only do a certificate up to a certificate 4. That was the wordage that I got from my rehab coordinator back then. I know that's changed dramatically now, but at that time I'm like, okay, Cert 4, what should I do? I've already got a Cert 4 in training assessor and I've got a Cert 4 in occupational health and safety. Shit. One of the things at the club that we do to help players is actually massage.
Okay.
I'll do a Cert 4 in remedial therapy. And they're like, you sure? I'm like, I'll give it a crack, That was gold. I was getting massaged 3 or 4 times a day. So all my injuries were well contained for a whole year. It was sensational. And I was, a couple of days a week going into a place there at Burleigh. And yeah, mate, it was a good time. And I just lapped it up, enjoyed it. And funny enough, there was another veteran there and he was the year above me. Like he had finished about halfway through my first year, and that was a funny experience. It was quite good. So I try and say to people, like, even if you are in a job at the moment, and you want to reach out to your rehab coordinator, you might be able to find another element in your job. So, like if you're in the defense and you can't do infantry anymore, you might go fly drones or something. You kind of transfer over and you get retrained. It can be a similar thing in your current job that you're doing.
Yeah.
You might not be physically be able to do something, but you might be able to get retrained in a different area that DVA can cover.
Yeah, or upskill. If you're just a shit kicker, you can upskill into a management role. Yeah,
well, that's it. Or like, if you're a tradesman and you want to go and do architecture or something like that, you've got that option. We've had a guy come through our program who was ex-infantry, then he was QPS, and then through his rehab coordinator, they paid for him to do a law degree. And and now he's a lawyer. He's working for the government here in Brisbane. So, there's definitely options there. As long as you've got a task and you set yourself a goal, and that's something that I believe veterans are very good at. We don't come out broken. We just come out a little lost. We've all got discipline. We just need a little bit of a nudge in the right direction, and once we get that ball moving, majority of us can do good things. So
100%.
Yeah,
it's been a real big theme in the last few months of veterans aren't broken.
Yeah,
like all the the values that we have are instilled in us: honor, honesty, courage, integrity, loyalty, respect, mateship, teamwork. It's all very transferable into life.
Absolutely.
And the narrative around injuries, and if you're med discharged, then you've got to spend the rest of your life on the couch playing PlayStation. Like, nah,
that's it.
Like obviously with the veterans grappling and stuff like that. Like you said, it is therapeutic, the grappling space, and it's something that veterans can definitely do in a safe way.
Yeah, exactly. And like once I set up the charity, or was it 6 or 7 years ago now, because I've seen it work firsthand with my coach, and then upon reflection on myself, that was the best thing for me. And when we went to Port Hedland, my wife and I, she's like, we don't know anyone here or anything. And I'm like, cool, let's just join the local sports club. So both had worked in AFL sort of scene before. So we joined the local AFL club and just helped with them. And we got to know the community really well. So I always say to veterans, if you want to be involved with the local community, join a local sport club or social club. It doesn't have to be Judo or BJJ, which has been great for me, but it could be your local cricket club or your footy club or
something that you enjoy. Yeah,
something that you enjoy. Might be a boating club or, whatever you're into. That's the best way to get back in, because we miss that community feel. And then it also forces you to actually, when you're committed to something, it forces you to actually get out of the house and actually go be involved. So I know we've all been in those dark times where we feel like you're worthless and you don't want to do anything today. You just want to stay in bed or lay on the couch, as you said, or play Xbox or PlayStation. But if you've actually got a purpose to go down to the local cricket club every Thursday night and have a whack in the nets and then a couple of beers afterwards, then at least that's something. It's getting you out. I used to tell one of my mates who was going through a real bad stage out, when we discharged, I said he didn't want to get out at all. And luckily this is before Uber Eats and all that started. So I'd be saying, you're not allowed to do a week's shopping. You have to go every day to the shops and choose what you're going to have for dinner. I don't know if I can do that. I'm like, try it, see how it goes. I said, you don't have to go at peak hour time, pick the quiet time, but at least get him out of the door and get him in that habit of going out and just one little step at a time. Yeah. So I've been on those long pack marches when you're absolutely knackered and you just got to keep telling yourself, just one more step, just keep going, push through the
I'll
suck.
stop soon. Just one more step. Surely win at the end.
Yeah. So keep pushing through, and then you build that rhythm and that routine, and things become a lot easier. So so that's
yeah, for sure. So how'd you get involved with the veteran grappling space?
Yeah, so once I come up with the idea,
Did you start it?
I started. Yeah,
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. So I, as I said,
matter.
I come across those papers when I was at the footy club. I'm like, I can see some merit in this. I think someone, and the more digging I did, I found a charity organisation in the US called We Defy Foundation, and they give veterans scholarships all around the country to go train their local jiu-jitsu club. So I found this program. I thought, this is amazing. Like from my personal history with seeing my coach and myself, like it'd be great to have something like this here. And then I got talking to a mate of mine who was a jiu-jitsu guy who was an exercise physiologist. And
yeah, I've met him. I've done some rolling at PCYC in Brisbane.
Yeah, that must have been, yeah. So I used to run those sessions, and then, so Luke, I was sitting down with him, and I'm like, he was just got his BJJ black belt at that stage, and he was looking at finding a place to set up his own club. I was running judo out of a PCYC at Broadbeach on the Gold Coast, and we'd just been booted out of there because PCYCs were going through their evolution where they were changing and they were getting rid of anything unless it was gymnastics or boxing in some places. Some other places they got rid of boxing as well. So we were just rolling and doing a bit of training ourselves, and I sort of pitched the idea, saying, "Oh, look, I found this organisation in the US, and I think something like that would be fantastic here. Like, I reckon, you're looking for a club and I'm looking for a club. How about we link up and we set this up and get it up and running?" And before we knew it, we had some veterans who were doing sporadic training with us. They sort of send the message out through social media and through the media outlets. And I think we had Channel 9 come along to our opening day, and we had a huge turnout. And I kind of arranged it to try and get different people or other veterans who are running gyms, or like Damien Brown and stuff like that, and guys who we've trained with over the years in the region, to sort of get them to come along and help us out and sort of spread the word. But then, Channel 9 rocked up and they did a fantastic story, and it ended up going a bit viral, going all around the country. And next minute I'm getting bombarded with all these emails and messages saying, "Oh, do you do police? Do you do ambos? Do you do fireys? Do you do this and that?" And I just went, "Yeah, you're all in the same boat. Let's just all get on there and train together." So we started running classes a couple of days a week, and then it escalated to 5 days a week. And as time's gone on, we've moved into a bigger and better venue, and we started doing wellness camps a couple of times a year. So I kind of made my own job after leaving the footy club. I reached out not long after that to the combative centre at Enoggera, because I saw they were doing some stuff there, and I thought this would be a really strong link, because the guys that are now training, as I said, when I was in, they were sort of looked down upon. Now it's part of the actual system that Paul Cale set up, that this, at least they could transfer their skills out and find a connection with their local community where it's similar skills, and they can continue building on and take some of that ability into a local community. And Aaron Johnson was the one who replied, and he's like, "Mate, this sounds fantastic. Like, come along, let's hook up." And I remember I was a bit nervous actually going back to Enoggera, going back on the base there, and he was up at the old gym out the front, near the front of the barracks there, near the front gate. And just walking in there, and it was, a couple of jigsaw mats on the ground and people are doing bits and pieces, and Jono ended up talking my ears off for an hour or so, and as he does.
He does.
He's got a wealth of knowledge, that man. And and we just hit it off, mate. It was good. Similar mindset, same sort of feel that, we see this as very, as you said, therapeutic in a way, controlled aggression and, that warrior mindset that we all have. It's a way that we can continue evolving that part of your mindset. And we built a really strong relationship. So in the end, I was coming up every Tuesday morning, running PT there, and then when they moved to the newer gym up near Afghans up there, so every Tuesday, get there, and I could have half a dozen soldiers, or I could have over 100. It was, we had the massive big floor area. There was up in the octagon. There was people doing all sorts of stuff. It was good times, good hard training, and then from there I'd stop in at Lang Park PCYC and run a session at lunchtime.
Oh yeah.
A local copper there reached out after he saw that viral news video and wanted me to run the program there as well. So I'd stop in there. Again, I'd do all this off my own back, and then drive all the way back, and then I'd run my own classes for the local club every Tuesday.
Down at Mollendina, is it?
Yeah, at Mollendina is where we were, and we had that going really well for a couple of years, and then some issues with the contract, and then we got kicked out, and now we're in the phase now where we're trying to find a new venue. And
I saw a post about that a while ago.
Yeah, it's been about 12 months now, unfortunately. It was probably about March last year. So it's been tough. I've started a full-time job at the start of end of last year as well. Start of last year. And I think with everything happening at the one time, it was kind of like, shit, I'm trying to do everything. We've had some really fantastic people who have reached out and offered to help. We had a demountable building that was quite large that we could have had, but then we'd have to move it ourselves. So it was coming from a hospital in Cleveland, and to try and move that somewhere on the Gold Coast, it was going to cost us about 40 to 60 grand. And then we needed land to put it on, and all these sort of issues, which gave us more problems than probably what actually it solved. So we tried going everywhere through the council, and it was a bit hard. So so in the process, we've got new directors and stuff that have come on board that have got a wealth of knowledge at some really high levels. We're very lucky to have them come on, and we're starting to model off what we Defy do in the US, where offer scholarships for veterans around the country. So obviously the last 6 years of running, we've been very centralised to the Gold Coast, and then trying to run a camp or two every year where people from all over the country come and sort of we all get together and train, but then try and give them the skills and the knowledge on how to deal with issues when they're not with us or with their own little support group. They can kind of give them some tools for their kit bag to help them with that, which it's been really successful, and we've had amazing feedback on all that. But to have a permanent outreach, we've decided if we go down the path that we Defy, then we've got more chance of actually touching a hell of a lot more people and helping them. So as I said, like with giving that ability to join your local community, your local sporting community, and build that network and the friends.
So you, instead of using money for one club, you're helping a veteran pay for a membership in their local.
So
their
say
local
if
club.
you're in Dubbo, you're a veteran and you're feeling a bit lost, you can apply for the scholarship, and then we'll pay for you to train at your local club. Be 12 months. And then the idea at the moment is that we'll run a camp at the end of every year, and all those people that have been on the scholarship for that year will come to the camp, and the camp will be attended by people who have veterans who are maybe higher rank black belts or have been through the program and have evolved after they've been through it, and kind of get them to sort of mentor the ones that are going through, or because that's the beauty with community clubs, is that like for work, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And if you get to build good relationships with the guy you're training with, you might be like, oh, I'm actually looking for work.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, oh, well, I know Joe Bloggs down the road who is actually looking for someone. And,
Literally just happened in my gym yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's millions of those stories, and, you can apply for all the jobs you want online, but it's who you know. And Australia's always sort of stayed like that. So I think, moving forward, that's the way we're going to go. We're still looking for a venue, and we're kind of hoping that we're going to move into one soon. But, this way we can reach out to a hell of a lot more. As I said, Judo, there's 190 odd clubs in Australia, and, there should be somewhere close by. There's clubs in bloody Alice Springs and Mossman and Broome and all sorts of stuff. So there's a few around.
Yeah, nice. How long do the camps go for?
The camps usually go for 4 or 5 days, what we've done in the past. We'd like to have them longer. Obviously, that just comes to funding, because last one we ran was at Tellabudgera Creek Rec Centre on the Gold Coast, which was funny enough, as we found out in the last day, it was an old World War II repatriation camp where guys got dengue fever and stuff. They would send them there and let them chill out there on the beach. I'm sure they would have got up to some mischief there. That was really good. We did it the first week of December. Not the year just gone, but the one before that. It was really good. Beautiful spot. We had the whole camp to ourselves, because usually that place is used for school camps, but because school's finished. So, right on the water, we had all sorts of fun there. It was really good. Just trained, 3 times a day, and then a lot of talking, a lot of healing, and we'd have a lot of guest speakers and stuff come in and give other avenues that have worked for them. As I said, it's not always just about the physical side. Obviously, that's the beauty of grappling arts or martial arts, is you physically work in your body, but you obviously got to problem solve as well. It's a bit hard to think about your problems.
Calm under pressure.
Yeah. Because if you're not...
It's a bit hard to think about your problems when you try not to get choked out.
Yeah, exactly. Choked or leg locked or smacked in the head. And a lot of people say the same with things like surfing and that as well. Like, I think, and that's the other good thing with the veteran communities now. There's a lot of different avenues out there. So as I said, if the grappling arts aren't for you, there's motorbike riding, there's horse riding, there's surfing, there's orienteering, there's all sorts of shit. Archery, yeah.
You want to speak a little bit about injuries? Not your own, but like just as a general rule. I know a lot of veterans that won't do martial arts because they feel they're too injured.
Yep. Yeah. We get a lot of questions about that, like about the injuries and if that's going to restrict them. So the way the program's sort of set up is, obviously everyone who's been involved has had some sort of medical background where we can, and a lot of experience within the coaching scene, where we can manipulate techniques and develop the training so it's a much less chance of aggravating any injuries or stirring them up. It's a lot more slow paced, the way that we run our programs. And the whole program is not about making you an Olympic athlete or world champion or anything like that. It's more about... I'm
not coming there.
It's more about, giving you the skill set and the confidence, building that back in, but giving you, judo is all about balance. The thing with grappling on the ground is that someone's always in balance because they've usually got their back on the floor. We're standing up. You're both trying to break each other's balance. So you get better at your balance, but you also learn how to fall properly. So that minimises the chance of getting injured. There's a really strong program ripping through Europe at the moment where they're using judo to actually teach the elderly how to fall properly, because funny enough, they're teaching them break falls and stuff, which is having major effects.
Oh, wow.
Because it's usually anyone in the medical space knows as soon as an elderly falls over and they crack a hip or something, it's not long after that they kind of pass away, you know. So if we can minimize the chances of that happening, so that's one of the things that has really sort of come out of the studies. Our venue that we have had and that we're in the process of building up at the moment has a sprung floor as well. We got big crash mats as well. So a lot of the takedown techniques that we would do would always be used on those mats. So it's like a big pillow really in the end.
Yeah.
But as I said before, like the throws are only one element, but a lot of people just know of the throws because of that's a lot of the highlights for judo, and that's the difference sort of between judo and jiu-jitsu. It's more throw orientated, but there's a lot on the ground as well.
Yeah. Give you confidence too, right? Give you more confidence in your body when you think that you feel like you can't trust your body anymore because you've got all these injuries. But then doing stuff like that gives you that confidence back. Yeah,
absolutely. A couple of years ago, I was lucky enough, I went to the World Veteran Games in the US. There was 2,500 competitors, I think. There was a lot of tape that was happening in the rooms out the back, I must say. There was a shitload of tape. But, you know, as you said, like a lot of the fears are like, oh, I'm too broken to do that. But after being even at that elite level 2 years ago at the, you know, for the older guys and girls, everyone's in the same boat. You're no different to anyone else. And no matter, it's not just veterans that have got a heap of injuries at our age. It's every Tom, Dick and Harry's got the same, you know, whether they've played footy and they've done their knee 3 times and shoulders or it's, you know, the little computer nerd that sits at a desk all day and they've got bad backs, and everyone's got some sort of injury. It's just an asset. It's an element of life. It's part of, as you get older, things are a lot harder. So as long as you've got a good coach that knows how to coach people at all levels, and I think that's the beauty with the arts these days. There's a lot of great coaches out there. So
I went to a session at Grey Wolf. Have you met that guy before?
Oh yeah,
at Nogra there.
Yeah,
did a session there a couple of weeks ago. Really good club.
And yeah, nice.
He's like that. He's really, you know, he picks who rolls with who, and he makes sure that they look after whatever injuries are going on and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So our veterans program we used to run was very beginner oriented. So again, using that military style where you aim for the lowest common denominator, you take it slow. It's very beginner style, but a lot of the higher grade veterans who would come along were sort of seen as an assistant coach type thing where they could sort of help the beginners start off. And the idea was get them to a point where they're confident in their ability and they know all the fundamentals of the safety stuff, how to fall properly, how to stop the basic sort of arm locks and strangles, and how to kind of not what to do, don't stick your arms out here and don't do this and do that, before we would let them join our civilian classes. So they've got a good base where they're less likely to get injured. Because if you get a brand new, fresh digger and stick him in a normal class, you're going to get that young 19, 20-year-old blue belt who just wants to get a kill and will try and rip their head off. And that's where injuries tend to happen.
Yeah. So all the spazzy white belts.
Yeah, exactly. So we always, that's the way we had that structured, and that worked quite well in that process. And that'll be part of the scholarship program that we're going to run. Is it's not just going to be, I'm a club, I want a free member join, you know, I want their membership paid for. they're going to have education as well. So we're going to concentrate on each club will have some training that they'll have to do with what we expect them to do and how we kind of structure the classes as well. So that's part of the stuff that should be hitting our website next week, where it should be, are you a veteran who's looking for a scholarship, or are you a club or a coach that's wanting to implement this? Yeah. And then these are the items we expect you to do. Mental health first aid certificate will be at least one. Real basic minimum, and you can get them pretty much at a fair few different locations these days.
Yeah. It's just like getting a regular first aid now.
It is, yeah. And so it should be. Obviously that's a major society issue, not just within the veteran community. It's across all elements really.
Yeah. Mental health and physical health. I'm an exercise physiologist as well.
Yeah, right.
And that's one thing that I try and remind veterans is that, like, it's not just because you're a veteran that you're injured. Like, there's plenty of jobs that you can get injuries from. Yeah. Definitely all the emergency services, but mining, buddy, anything that's got any sort of physical element to it, and you won't get looked after half as well as what we do. Yeah.
Look at all the tradies, how many
tradies.
Injuries.
Yeah, for sure. Cool, man. What's coming up for the organisation?
Yeah, so other than the scholarships, we should have a camp running up in December, we're hoping. We're just applying for some funding at the moment for that, so hopefully that'll come through, which would be fantastic.
Just one a year at the moment?
One a year at the moment, yeah. Just with my availability, it's a bit difficult, and it takes a long time to sort of make all the cogs move behind the scenes. It's a fair bit of planning and preparation to go into those 5 or 6 days when you've got people from all over the country come in. They've all got their own little issues. There's admin stuff, there's medical stuff. It's and then trying to rearrange the right staff to be there to support those people as well. So there are always a lot of work that goes in behind the scenes to make that run smoothly as it possibly can. And luckily at the moment, every time we've done it, it's worked well. That's one. We're trying to get our program recognised by the International Judo Federation at the moment, which will be fantastic. They've shown some interest, and we're going through basically the chain of command to get that recognised and put through, which would be a huge achievement for the charity if that comes ahead. For part of that, I've been asked to go coach at a university next month in Japan, which would be a really interesting experience. It's for disabled athletes. So from all around the world are going to be there. We've got some guest speakers from, I think, Sweden. They're doing one about athletes with Down syndrome, and then there's other ones for blind athletes and a bit of everything. So that'll be really, really great to attend and see how that's all running. I'm the team manager for that one as well, so I've got a little bit of extra work I've got to do. So that'll be good. That'll be good to see how things are run. With all those other elements that through the charity we haven't come across anything Down syndrome and all those sort of elements wise, but blind and limbs missing and stuff like that. So we've got a really good connection that I've built over the years with We Defy and Reorg, who are the UK version. We all got together a couple of years ago and spent a good week together talking about our own challenges we have with our organisations in our own country and how we sort of structure things and what works, what doesn't work. That's been really positive to keep in contact with those guys. A few of them are keen to come out and help spread the word to Australia this year. So it'd be great to have Alan Shibaro out from the US. He's the one who started We Defy, or one of the original guys. I think he's a 5th degree jiu-jitsu black belt. And he's a judo jiu-jitsu. He's a judo black belt as well. Former Green Beret. He's an absolute beast. He's a lovely guy. He's keen to come out. He does powerlifting and all sorts of stuff. So he's a big unit. We've been trying to organise that for a while. Him and Sam Sheriff from Reorg were going to come out early days. I'm talking 2019, 20, and then COVID obviously squished that. So it'd be good to get them out at some stage and get that up and running. We've got still long-term goals to try and get it into the Warrior Games or the Invictus Games. All the grappling arts, and if not, we're going to try and do our own, I think.
Grappling games.
Yeah, well, Reorg won their own tournament just as a BJJ competition they run. It's a charity-run tournament, so anyone can enter, but just obviously the funding from the revenue from it goes to the charity. And I think, there's potential that we could do something like that here in Australia. So that's all things that just need time and people to help. And it's hard to do on your own.
I can cut this out afterwards if you don't like them. But Are you affiliated? Do you have anything to do with Veterans MMA?
Yeah, the boys there. I haven't been up there yet. The boys reached out a couple of years ago because I'd served with both the lads. So Aussie. What's the other guy's name? Shit, I can't remember his name now. That's not going to be great. They come down and did a bit with us at the old venue when we were up and running down there, and they reached out and pretty much asked how the program worked and how we were making it sort of set up when they were looking at doing it. And originally, I was trying to organise some sort of connections there where we could help run fight nights and all sorts of stuff. The issue we found, and this is probably stuff you need to cut out, that I think they were doing some striking stuff as well.
Yeah, they do MMA, yeah.
Yeah, and our physio, who was with the program, did his PhD in concussion, and he was like, I can't be associated with anything that's got striking in it. So it was sort of like a no. I think there's been times where they've come and trained with us like jiu-jitsu style and the guys have gone up there and trained. But I've basically, since the issue with the venue, the whole charity kind of got put on pause for a little bit until now it's started to get up and running. Yeah.
Cool.
So it'd be good to link up with them guys in the future, yeah.
Oh, yeah, yep. And being a charity, I imagine you accept donations and all that sort of stuff for funding. So how do people?
Yeah, absolutely. So on our website, we'll have there's a link there to donate for anyone. It's tax deductible. We are DGR status charity. So we have that available. We are in the process of putting up sponsorship packages. So whether you want to sponsor a veteran scholarship, which is about $2,500 for 12 months, or there's camps as well. So some organisations have shown interest in potentially putting a camp on. So those all links will be up on the website.
Oh, yeah. What's the website?
www.veteransgrappling.org.au.
Got to think about that one.
Yeah.
I'll chuck the link up as well.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Sounds good. And as far as just like, there's no like day-to-day training at the moment while we're looking for a facility?
Yeah, no, I run judo classes 3 times a week at the moment at the local club. We're just running out of a scout hall at the moment.
You bring your own mats or something?
No, yeah, mats are down. Yeah, our mats are permanently down. It's we're there at the moment. We are negotiations with a lawyer at the moment about the new venue. So hopefully we should be up and running with that. I'm hoping in the next 2 months. And then once that is established, the program will be back implemented and away we go.
Just the Gold Coast.
Gold Coast, yep, at the moment.
Until you can expand.
Till we can expand, yeah. So I think that's the other thing with the new direction we go in that scholarship phase. I think we want to start, if there's interested coaches and clubs that want to implement the program, then we'll put a package together where we can bring them up to speed and show them, the slight differences of what we do, just to sort of help us, the community, what actually works for us in that space. So you got the sport element, you've got the self-defense element, you got the confidence sort of, and then you've got the restrictions with the injuries and stuff. So there's all those elements that play a part in the actual package. Yeah. And I think, just being able to know how to design your class around all those restrictions, well, not restrictions, but elements, will make it for a more successful class.
Beautiful. Sounds good. Well, thanks for being here, dude.
No worries.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
This is Australia.
The Grey Man Podcast is a veteran-run platform dedicated to sharing authentic experiences from current and former service members. These stories are shared to foster connection, understanding, and support within the veteran community. Episodes may contain raw, emotionally charged content that some listeners may find distressing. Listener discretion is advised. The views and opinions expressed by guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of the Grey Man Podcast, its host, or affiliated partners. The Grey Man Podcast assumes no liability for any statements, opinions, or representations made by guests during interviews or discussions.